Hi Titans, this is our final video of the year. I'm sure you're ready to close the book on the 2019-2020 school year. And I hope that Life Science has brought you a lot of information and a lot to think about, and the ability for you to see the problems that are in the world and know that you have the ingenuity and the intelligence and the drive and the creativity to solve them. I saw such amazing things from you this year. I'm very impressed by you, and I know that the future is brighter with you in it. So I wanted to talk about one final topic, and it was the one that I really got to miss out on teaching you this year because of the pandemic, and that was the idea of food and farming. This is something that I am incredibly passionate about, and something that I've been learning more and more about, and I continue to learn more and more about every day. And so I'm coming to you from my garden. This is something that in every spare moment I've had since we've been home, I've been working on, and I'm pretty excited about it. I've always wanted to have a larger size garden of my own to be able to grow my own vegetables and fruits and put in flowers for pollinators. Part of my inspiration about farming has come, well, it's actually come from many sources. I'm wearing a t-shirt that my sister gave me. She worked in Austin, Texas on a large-scale organic farm called Johnson's Backyard Garden. And when I visited her in Austin, I was able to take a tour of the farm, and I even got to work a little bit putting in tomato stakes, and I got to see some of the methods that they use to grow food. There's another documentary that I've watched a lot, trust me on this one, but there's a documentary that I watched called Fresh, and this introduced me to a lot of different ways that people are approaching solutions to some of the problems that we have with our modern day monoculture crop farming that is very damaging to the planet, and it's damaging to the soil, and there are solutions and alternatives out there. And so after watching this film for several years, there's a farmer and a farm that's featured in there called Polyface Farms, and his name is Joel Salatin. And I actually grabbed my son Riley and my dad, and we drove down to Swoop, Virginia, and actually did what they call the lunatic tour of his farm. We all got on the back of a tractor, and he took us all around the farm and talked to us about the way that he sustainably farms. And one of the biggest concepts in doing this is biodiversity. Now, this is something that we talked about in the beginning of the year when we talked about environmental science and ecology, and that the strongest ecosystems are built on the concept of biodiversity, and having many different species in an area makes it stronger. And so this is the case in addition with farming. And so with farming, we have gotten away from this concept of these small scale farms where you have massive biodiversity. And so your farmer would grow carrots and squash and tomatoes and many varieties of them, and lettuce and potatoes and corn, and they might have some farm animals like chickens and cows and pigs, and all of these things work in harmony in order to provide a balance in nature. That's not how we farm now. Unfortunately, we have shifted to what is called monoculture farming, where you have a soybean farmer or a corn farmer or a pig farmer, a chicken farmer. And so in this case, you are taking one organism, whether that be a plant or an animal, and you are growing a mass amount of that organism in one space. The problems that arise with this is if you get a virus or a bacteria, something that makes that organism sick, you lose your entire crop or your entire herd. That's just not financially smart. So oftentimes we pump these animals full of antibiotics just to keep them healthy. and to keep them from dying. Or in a monoculture, crop where you're growing soybeans, we spray them with pesticides and herbicides in order to get rid of the things that are eating them. And so this obviously is a problem in nature, because you are introducing something that's not supposed to be there. You're introducing synthetic chemicals, and you're introducing antibiotic resistance, which is something that if we would have had more time at evolution, we could have gotten to talk about. And so when you have a biodiverse farm, when you have genetic diversity, it's going to just make everything stronger. And so, like I said, if you do get a virus in your one strain of tomato plants, well, you've got tons of other crops to draw from for income or to maintain the health of a space. When you plant your crops where you have rotations or you have crop cover, you have one plant contributing where another plant might be using those types of nutrients and minerals and depleting the soil, and the other one is putting the compost back in or putting the nutrients back in. So you're using these natural cycles of nature, and when you mimic nature, it allows you to do things more healthfully. So this is kind of the premise behind, I feel, the sustainable organic farming movement that I'm hoping that we see a whole lot more of in your lifetime, because it helps to heal the land and it helps to change our view of how food should be grown in order to feed a growing population. So the other film that I got to see, actually I went with Mrs. Militello and saw at Ambler Theater, was called Biggest Little Farm. And this film shows the realities of what farming is like. But this couple actually sets out to turn all these acres into this biodiverse, dynamic, sustainable farm. And they are amazing in what they've done. I know that right now things are kind of scary in the world. While I'm talking to the camera, there's looting and rioting going on over racial inequalities in our country. And I'm sorry that you need to see that. I'm sorry that you need to deal with the emotion of that. I am hopeful that when we get to the other side of the craziness of 2020, because this has been a year for the history books, we will find a place that is more peaceful and that we can approach with intelligence and wisdom and respect, not just for other people, but for the planet. I hope that you have seen this year that you are part of the solution and you have the ability to do amazing things, to have an amazing life full of love and laughter and wonderful people and purpose. And I am excited to see that unfold for you. So please stay in touch. I hope that you had a great year. I hope I provided you with a phenomenal foundation for 10th grade. And I hope to see you in the fall. Have a great summer. Take care.